All right, YouTube, it's time for Occult Literature video number 20, Spirits of the Garden, Mind-Altering Species in the Backyard. This was sort of a companion to Psychedelic Spirituality and Fruits of Eden, sort of the companion to the former and the forerunner of the latter, sort of sandwiched in between. I wanted to have something to slightly expand upon, specifically Fruits of Eden's coverage of the mind-altering side of herbalism, specifically because Fruits of Eden was really more about the more authentic historical uses of these things. Only really where they overlap with psychotropia was I interested in having an entry. So morning glories there, obviously. Amanitas, which I know aren't a plant, they're a fungi, nonetheless, were there as well. Some of these species, though, were not in the text or weren't really discussed fully in the context of their psychotropic usage. Now, as always, there's a link in the description to where you can purchase this work off of Amazon. A second link to my books blog, still under maintenance, about half done. The purpose of Spirits of the Garden in expanding upon these things was to take really my experience with many of these substances and put it in writing in a way that Fruits of Eden really, I didn't have the space or the inclination to do so at the time. I wanted it to be only really half encyclopedic content. The other half is more how-to material, some background, a great deal of opinion as well. Spirits of the Garden doesn't really get into the opinion so much as simply it catalogs these things as they are. For instance, catnip, which most people still do not think of in terms of being a mind-altering substance. When smoked is a mild stimulant, when taken as a tea is a mild sedative. Either way, it is edible, it is capable of being used. Salvia divinorum, I wanted to delve into that more. Chamomile, many times. People think if it's legal, it's not truly a mind-altering substance. Well, you drink alcohol, that's a mind-altering substance, it's legal. Regulated, but legal. Tobacco is a mind-altering substance. Caffeine. Chocolate, basically cheese, has chemicals in it that mimic opioids. And so it gets to the point where that really isn't a reliable way to really gauge whether something is effective or not at altering your state of mind. And really, in many cases, it's not a case of trying to see the mushrooms on your eyes and everything gets warped and jiggles around and changes colors like a rainbow. In some cases, by mind altering, you're really looking at more the sedative side or the stimulant side, certainly. Cocaine, certainly, it's not a psychedelic. It's not within that class of drugs, but it's obviously a drug. It's obviously used for recreational purposes. I wanted to cover many of these things. I thought opium lettuce, for instance, even California poppy, the fact that it is a very mild euphoriant, so maybe on the order of morning glory minus the mild psychedelia. Many people don't even know about this unless they've gone out of their way to research it. And if they've gone out of their way to research it, chances are they've already got some experience with many of these substances. So for the complete novice, I wanted to have a more general overview of a couple dozen of these substances with a few passages at the end. For instance, about hoax and moral panic, and so forth. I wanted to include some pictures of certain things that I myself took. They're in black and white within this specific work, but pictures that I took, really, which deal with certain psychotropic or look-alike species. I thought that was important as well. Not simply here's an opium poppy, but oh, here's an oriental poppy. You need to be able to tell the difference, otherwise, what's the point? You have to be well learned. Now, I should probably say disclaimer is in this work, obviously. I'm not condoning or suggesting the usage of any of these things. I'm just providing it for roughly a scientific and educational overview of some of the more important species within the realm of the mind-altering, not just psychedelics, and not necessarily, in many cases, these substances are either fully legal, like passion flower, like catnip, or they're semi-legal, like morning glory. You can get the seeds for it. You're not supposed to take them. It's really unenforceable. If you try to go driving on morning glory, you're probably going to have a problem. You can get a DUI or something. But again, link in the description to where you can purchase this work, and a second link to my books blog. It's 54 pages long, so it wasn't nearly as long as Fruits of Eden, and it was shorter than Psychedelic Spirituality. However, it's one of the works that I spent a little bit less time researching than actually making sure it was formatted properly, specifically because I didn't really need to do any additional research. By the time I wrote it, I had already ended all of my experimentation with these many substances. That's about all. Peace out.